Hey, this is Travis. So, if you've known me very long, you probably don't think of me as a really kind or friendly person. And you'd be right. I'm really sorry. So, about 2.5 years ago, I learned something that I have only come to know to be true more and more every day. So, my mannerisms and my facial expressions and a lot of the things that I do around body movement are very intentional and masking, and a lot of the physical mannerisms that I keep myself from doing, that is also masking. So some of my struggles are emotional dysregulation. That can look like a number of things. Uh, I, in social settings, I never learned, I never picked up on, wow, as a child, I never interacted with kids in a way that I picked up what I was supposed to be doing. So I I did not accurately learn the social skills that most of the other children were learning. And I have carried that through my life and used unhealthy coping mechanisms a lot, like a lot. And the more that I keep myself from doing that, I realize just how prevalent those those unhealthy coping mechanisms were, like sarcasm and being uh, aggressive in a conversation just to um, cover up that I didn't know how to handle myself and distract from my deficiency in social skills. A lot of unhealthy stuff that kept me passable. Um, I also have a lack of empathy, and I've heard this talked about sometimes as though that were a choice that people were making. So I don't understand that view. So I can't speak to it very well, but it's not a choice. That's an impairment. I lack the ability to experience empathy as I understand it. So I have compassion and love and a lot of other things, but empathy is a very big blind spot that I'm not able to experience. So um, I'm sorry if you've experienced that from me, if you've been on the receiving end of that from me. Um, when I'm speaking, I can use literal or figurative speech because I know how I mean them. But when I am listening, I don't know how to take figurative speech or emotionally charged language because my brain only processes it as literal speech. Um, I have sensory overload a lot of times, and all this is kind of just to uh, all this is kind of just it comes together to basically describe that I have Asperger's syndrome, and that's not okay. Gosh, all that kind of comes together uh, in a very brief explanation, just so you can understand how Asperger's syndrome affects. Oh, oh my gosh. And all that comes together to uh, and all that stuff is just a part of how Asperger's syndrome affects my life. It's a high, not a high functioning, but a high, it's on the high masking end of autism spectrum conditions. So I have other things at play that might make my autism look different than someone else's, um, other things that I'm not going to get into right now. Um, a lot of it's in the emotional side where I don't, yeah, not going to get into that right now. But suffice it to say, um, there is none of what I'm saying now is to excuse the way I've interacted with you. If I've treated you in some way, then I would love to talk to you about it. I'd be happy to um, apologize for it personally, but I'm doing it here and now just so you know that I'm not saying this as an excuse. Oh, man. But I'm doing this here and now just so that you know I'm not saying this as an excuse of how I've acted. This is just meant to be an explanation. And to further show how it's not an excuse is that I'm saying this so that you understand why you will continue to see me acting differently, to behaving differently. My mannerisms are different because I am very actively breaking down the masks that I've been wearing my whole life. Like sarcasm and um, sarcasm is just a good one. I'll just go with that. Like I'm a lot more subdued in conversations, and I still have a little bit of that in me, but that's because it's easy. It's a very easy go-to response and reaction. But you will continue to see me uh, change into a healthier version of myself. That's how you can know that this isn't an excuse. It's because I'm using everything I'm learning about the way that my brain works to be a more loving and godly person. Because whoever you are that's watching this, if you know me or if you don't know me, like I love you and I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to serve God with my life. And that's the only thing that I'm really striving for right now. So if you could be kind and patient with me, I would appreciate that.